You can be honest about the things that you want. You don't have to sugarcoat it to appease anybody else. You don't have to water yourself down to make other people comfortable. Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a chit chat video, so let's get right into it. So in today's video, I'm going to be just talking, rambling maybe a little bit, and I just want to talk about some of the biggest lessons and things that I learned about myself in my 20s. I've been saying this a lot in a lot of my new videos, but if you don't know, I just turned 30 years old. So with birthdays, and especially with this being a milestone birthday, it's just caused me to do a lot of like reflecting on the past decade and a lot of refining for this new decade that I'm going into. So if you guys don't know, I do have a whole channel dedicated to this chit chat type of content, commentary content, self-love type of content. It is called Snatched and Highly Favored, and I will leave the link to my channel down in the description box for you guys to go check out. This video will probably be over there as well. So I can say that the biggest lesson that I've learned over the last 10 years is that sometimes it's you, okay? Sometimes you are the problem. And I know it's kind of hard to say, but another thing that I've learned is that I have to be honest with myself. And I feel like I spent a lot of time being mad about opportunities that didn't happen, being mad about opportunities that should have happened, holding on to resentment, hurt from what other people did. And the biggest thing that I've learned is that through all of it, I have the power. I am in control of the decisions that I make. So regardless of what outside factor contributed to my hurt, whatever outside factor contributed to my unhappiness, it's always up to me to figure out the next moves, to figure out the next steps. And so piggybacking off of that, another thing that I learned is that you for you and me for me, I'm always going to be my number one advocate. I cannot expect anybody else to advocate on my behalf better than I can advocate for myself. And I just had to realize, like, man, I was a terrible advocate for myself. And sometimes it's not necessarily intentional. I mean, I have videos where I told you guys I grew up very shy for once, and I do have a very reserved personality in general. Like, you know, when I'm with friends and families, obviously I let my hair down and I'm a little more free. But for the most part, in situations with strangers or people who I don't know on a certain level, I am very reserved, and it takes a lot to get a reaction out of me. I just feel like if something is not worth my energy, then I just kind of let it fly. But what I was doing was denying myself certain things that I wanted. Someone who I felt like had my best interest in mind, like whether it's family, parents, whether it's a mentor, if I felt like they said that this was the best way to achieve something or that this is the right way to do it, I would go along with it even if I felt like it wasn't the right way for me. And that's something that I'm learning, that like, no, if I feel like I can render a better result, or if I just feel like I want to do something because this is what I want to do with my life, then I am, like I said, I'm gonna be an advocate for myself, and I'm gonna say no. Even though this may be the right way to do it, this is the way that Sharmel is going to do it. And another thing that I had to be honest with myself is like the amount of energy and effort I was putting towards the things that I wanted in life. I spent some years being mad about my current status in life. I just felt like certain things that I had expected to happen by a certain age wasn't happening. Or even here on YouTube, there are times where I felt like my channel should be bigger than what it is, my views should be better than what they are. And I had to be honest with myself about the amount of effort that I was putting in. I was lazy in certain aspects, I procrastinated in a lot of aspects. You have to always continue to learn, to grow, to push forward. Like, I would say that I wanted all these things to happen, but I wasn't putting in the amount of time and effort that it takes for those things to happen. Just because you start at a good point does not mean that you still don't have to put in a certain amount of effort. And I would use the excuse that, you know, I had other responsibilities to take care of, and that's true. That's life. And if you want something so bad, at the end of the day, again, it's you. You're going to have to be the one to make it happen. And it's a quote that I was watching a sermon and I heard someone say one time. It's like, just because it's valid, it can no longer be your excuse. And I feel like that was something that I've really held on to since then, is because I used to like to make excuses about all these responsibilities and things that I had to do. as an adult. And for one, once you become an adult, there's just going to be certain aspects to adulthood that you just have to accept. If you want something so bad, you're going to have to figure it out. You know, we live in such a time where we all want instant gratification, and I had to kind of let go of that idea of getting everything that I want right when I want it. There's sometimes that will happen. There are going to be some blessings that fall in your lap that you just did not expect to happen, and then there's going to be other blessings that you have to wait out. You have to be patient. You have to be diligent. You have to really seek God on another level for them to happen. It's hard because just of the times that we're living in, like, so much is so accessible to us like this, and so we expect everything to be accessible to us in that same manner, and sometimes that's just not going to be the case. So I had to work on my patience, and I had to let go of that idea of having instant gratification. And in general, with everything I'm saying, overall my 20s were good years. I had a lot of good moments in my 20s, but what I can say is that I feel like I did not live my life as fully and as boldly as I could have and as I should have. Like, I just want to wake up and live my life to the fullest capacity. I want to live out who I am, who God created me as, who God designed me as, and I want to stand in that and live that boldly. The way that you do that, and the way that I'm learning to do that, is first seeking God, y'all. Over this past couple of years, I have never seeked God the way that I have seeked him on this level, and I have just found a newfound comfort in doing that, and it's a new confidence within myself, because you start to really understand like who you are and who God called you to be, who God created you as. And then once I know that, and as I learn more about God, I learn more about myself, and through that relationship with God, I've been able to accept myself in a way that I never have before. And it's just such a good feeling, and I'm getting a little emotional, and I did not expect for me to feel like this when doing this video, but it's just such a good feeling to really find that confidence in that comfort in who you are. And once you start to do that, you can be honest about the things that you want. You don't have to sugarcoat it to appease anybody else. You don't have to water yourself down to make other people comfortable. You don't have to boost yourself up to put on more than what you are. You can just be yourself and be happy and live boldly and fully. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to have reached this point. And I know that life is life, so it's going to be a lot of peaks, it's going to be a lot of valleys, but the way that I feel now, like, I just look back on certain things that I look back on certain periods of my life, and I'll be like, man, that time period could have been so much more fulfilling if I wasn't so in my head about certain things, or if I wasn't so insecure about certain things, if I wasn't downplaying certain parts of myself or downplaying the things that I wanted. Like, my life could have been a lot better, and I try not to dwell on that. And that's another thing that I'm learning, or that I've learned, is that you can't dwell on what happened. You only can learn from it and move forward. Another thing that I learned, and I feel like I just really started to get this one under control, but a big lesson that I learned in my 20s is forgiveness. And I know a lot of people struggle with forgiveness because we are human, and when we hurt, we hurt. People say it all the time, like, forgiveness is for you and it's not for the others. And it's true. And I think people assume that when you forgive somebody, you're automatically opening the door for that person to come back into your life. And that's just not the case. And once I forgive somebody, or I forgive a situation, I'm just releasing those negative feelings, that resentment, that hurt. Like, I do not want to hold on to unnecessary hurt, because the thing about hurt and the thing about being the victim of the hurt is that a lot of the times the people who hurt you, they go on and live their life. Like, your hurt doesn't even matter. They chilling, they living their best life. They not thinking about the ways that they hurt you, but you're the one that's left with all that pain and all that hurt. And for me, it's like, why am I holding on to this when that person doesn't even care about what they did to me? So I can forgive that person, I can forgive that situation, and again, it doesn't mean that I'm allowing them back into my life, but I'm ridding myself of that pain and just of everything encompassing that. It's easy to forgive people now. It just means that I'm done with it. Like, I can't give this situation no more energy. Like, I've had a lot of dating experiences within my 20s, and my heart has been broken. I've been cheated on. I've had some disrespectful things done to me. I've been used for money. I've been used for other things. And I can honestly say that I have no ill feelings to anybody I have ever dated in my life. I can see them in public and it can be cordial. I'm over that situation. Like, you hurt me, but it's good. And I've also reached up a level to where I understand that sometimes you're just not compatible with people. And I did a whole dating video at the beginning of this year, and I'll link it down below. And in that video I talked about compatibility. It can be like a romantic relationship, it can even be your family. You have siblings, you have cousins, just family members who you're not compatible with. There's going to be jobs that you're not compatible with. There's just always going to be certain factors in this life that you're not compatible with. And it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the other party. It just simply means that you guys are not compatible. You are not able to exist in the same space at the same time and everything be good. A lot of y'all causing unnecessary hurt and unnecessary pain by trying to hold on to people, jobs, whatever it may be. They're trying to hold on to situations that you're just not compatible to. Once you understand that, it's just like such a freeing, liberating feeling. That's why I can forgive people the way I do, because regardless of how you hurt me, we're just not compatible. And I'm okay with that. And with us not being compatible, I forgive everything that happened with this whole interaction, and I'm going to go live my life the way that works for me. You can go live your life and do the things that work for you, and we can be good. All parties can be happy and everything is good. And Amanda Seales, she's always saying she is not for everybody and everybody is not for her. And regardless of how you feel about her, regardless of how you feel about me, and regardless of how you feel about the next person, that's what it boils down to. You have to get to a point where you can be comfortable and okay with knowing that every situation, every person is not for you, and you're not for every person. And another thing with forgiveness, I had to realize that just like I'm on my own personal journey of self-love and just being the best person that I can be to myself as well as to others, other people are on their own personal journeys as well. So what happens is we end up putting these people on these really high pedestals, and then when they don't meet our expectations, we automatically like to write them off as being toxic. And yes, some people can be toxic. Yes, some people are toxic. Yes, some people do have toxic traits, but just like them, I have toxic traits as well. And a lot of people don't like to own up to that. We just like to disguise it by using, this is self-care, or I'm learning this about myself, trying to be all of this. But it's like, no, what you're really doing is ridding yourself of those toxic behaviors or those toxic traits. And we like to color it up when we talk about ourselves, but when we talk about other people, it's just they're toxic, and we don't allow any room for grace or for growth. And like I said, forgiving a person doesn't mean that you just allow them in your life and you allow them to treat you any certain way. But I understand that you're on your own personal journey to overall healness and wellness, and I support you on that journey, just with me not in the picture. Yeah, forgiveness was definitely a big thing that I've had to learn, but it's definitely a rewarding thing to do. Once I started forgiving others, I was also able to forgive myself more. I didn't realize how high of a pedestal that I put my own self on, in which we should always consider ourselves the prize. But what happens when you put yourself on such a high pedestal and then you don't reach your goals? The more time I spent dwelling on the hurt and pain of how somebody else treated me, I was also spending that time dwelling on the hurt and pain of my own shortcomings. I would be mad and I wouldn't forgive myself for it, and then it just kind of created a snowball effect to where I was underperforming in everything. Sometimes you're like, how did I even get here? Like, I didn't realize how bad I was treating myself. I had to forgive myself for that. Like, yeah, I fell short, but like, I'm still okay. Like, you can still reach that potential. You may have failed, you may have had some setbacks, but your life isn't over. Yeah. The biggest thing I learned in my 20s is that I was the problem. I was the issue. The whole self-care movement is really big right now, and I do love watching self-care videos, watching self-care tips, but it's also really important to make sure that we're not spending so much time focused on the outer aspect of self-care. Those things are important, but we also want to just make sure that we're digging deep and getting to the root of what we're actually caring for. Because I feel like, you know, the spa days and all of that. That's just like a treatment for the symptoms, but you have to get to the root cause of the symptoms and really figure out what's causing me so much stress in my life to where I need to have a spa day 3 times a week. Like, all the outer stuff is good, but also make sure you're taking care of your inner wellness, your mind, your body, your spirit, all of that. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my beauty channel as well as my self-love commentary channel, Snatched and Highly Favored, and follow me on Instagram, Snatched by Sharmel, and I'll see you all in my next video.